Hi everyone, thanks for watching Access Hockey MI. As promised, we are going to bring you a couple more draft profiles today. This is based loosely on lists that you see of all the rankings. Everybody likes to release their list of who they think is going to be drafted. It's all conjecture. No one really knows until the day of what exact spots people are going to go. But today we're going to talk about two different players. So our idea of number 3 and number 4, and they're both from the Slovak League. So that's kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. And they're both from that country as well. So yeah, that's pretty neat. So we're going to talk about them today, and let's get going.
Neat. The first one is right defenseman Simon Nemec. So it's kind of like it looks like Nemec.
But it's not. It's Nemec.
This is the time of year we work really hard to try to figure out how to say their names properly.
Watch the videos.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is our best guess.
Yeah.
Who even knows if it's right?
The commentator was yelling really fast. So he's 192 pounds, 6'1" at the last weigh-in. Again, like we said last video, it's going to change come the NHL Combine, which is coming up. It comes just before the draft happens, so that'll be a little bit more accurate. Right now, according to NHL Central Scouting European rankings, he's number 3. So that's not the consolidated. Like Janae mentioned, we're kind of looking at multiple lists.
Looking at a lot of lists all together.
There's a lot. You look at the consolidated rankings and it's like ridiculously long how many people weigh in on that. Mm-hmm. But right now, or as of the last season, he was playing with the HK Nitra, which is a Slavic league. He had 26 points in 21 games, and it's
31 games.
31 games, I'm sorry.
You should be sorry.
I can't read my own notes.
You should be sorry.
I'm so sorry. But out of those points, he only had 1 goal. He is a defenseman, so assists are kind of their thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it is interesting to see that it was just 1 goal, which I don't think you typically see that.
Yeah.
I think the next
everybody seems to think that the NHL wants right defensemen. Yeah. And I have yet to figure out, if you could drop in the comments why you think that would be, why teams just covet a right defense. Mm-hmm. I would like to know that, because no one actually tells you why. They're just always like, oh, the coveted right defense. And I'm like,
is it really, right? And it might sound ignorant, but is it really that rare to have a right defenseman?
Well, it might be rare, but why not a lefty? I don't know. Maybe just because there's so
Lefties
many lefties.
Need love too, you know?
It's kind of like goalie when they're right and left, but that seems a little more. Anyway, this is all besides the point. Some things that we noticed about his play in watching the videos is that he can make and read a play very well. Mm-hmm. So that's very important as a defenseman to be able to read the play. So when you're trying to get puck possession back, or you're trying to keep possession in the zone, to read the play that your team is trying to do, and maybe see how the other team is trying to affect the play you're trying to make, is very important. He just seems very aware, and that speaks to me, to his hockey IQ, to his aware of the ice and his awareness of his teammates, and how the play is going, and what he needs to do to either get possession back or keep possession.
Mm-hmm. He does seem like a really smart player in that way.
He carries himself very maturely,
right?
At least in my head and from what I've seen.
Yeah. And obviously, we're not in the Slovak League,
so
we couldn't.
That'd be fun if we could.
That would be really
go
cool.
to all these games.
If anyone wants to pay our way, we'll start a GoFundMe. The thing that I kind of picked up on watching his play, that he is very smart on the boards. Now, being that he's 6'1", he is kind of on the larger side of things right now. He will get bigger, of course.
He's not the biggest.
He's not the biggest, but what's interesting is about a body size like that, he did look like he got tossed around a little bit, but it didn't look like his board play was incredibly strong yet. However, he's very smart with how he does it, how he uses his legs to pin bigger players, how he uses the rest of his body to do so and get the puck out. Now, when he gets the puck out, it does seem, from, again, what I saw, it's just kind of like, get it out. And it's not super strategic. He is aware, so he knows approximately where his guys are. Mm-hmm. But in those situations, it does seem like he right now knows how to use what body he has, and he does play smart along the boards, which is great, because once he gets a bigger body and more awareness as far as those tight enclosures, he'll be able to utilize that a little bit more.
Yeah, and his puck handling and stick use, very important as a defenseman to have the control of your stick is going to be very important, because the small poke checks that you get, the small things you can do with your stick to lift the stick of the guy maybe on a rush to get that puck possession back is very important.
Even reaching and lengthening yourself.
Those small little things are very important to be a well-rounded defenseman, and I think that he shows good the good guts of having the ability to have that puck handling and the stick use just kind of even get better and better as time goes on. And it is going to be interesting to see. Both these guys are, the one we're going to talk about next to, are in the European League. So that means the ice is also a different size. So when you watch these plays, you notice that there's a lot more time to make decisions. Yeah. There's a lot more time to make passing. There's a lot more time to make decisions. And so it is going to be interesting to see kind of how he adjusts himself when he is playing in North America to see if that kind of affects his game as it is right now.
Right, yeah. And that, I think, plays into to his awareness. So if that's something that he can pick up on pretty quickly, if he's as smart as everyone has been saying he is, I think that shouldn't be a roadblock for him. But with any European player coming over, it's always kind of that underlying consideration.
Yeah.
So the next guy we got is actually a left winger. So different position, so a little bit different viewpoint for him. It's Juraj Slafkovsky. That's such a tricky name.
Slafkovsky.
Say that 10 times fast. Right now, he's at about 218.
He's a big guy at 6'4".
Yeah, he's got the body.
He's a big guy, sure. But it's interesting because he actually doesn't look that big when he's on the ice. Because when I had seen him playing, and then I saw his stats, I was like, he's 218, 6'4". Like, but that I guess could mean that he actually carries himself very well.
He's nimble
already.
Right.
So that's good.
But he's ranked number 1 overall according to Central Scouting for the European skaters. And again, in case you don't know, there's North American and European. They do separate those two.
On the NHL. So if you go to NHL's website, it's all separated there. When you get the combine is when you see like Bob McKenzie's list. You see the FC hockey list.
Lots of projections.
A lot of projections, but that's all we can do at this point. But he was in Liga last season. But if you look at Elite Prospects, there was a lot of fluctuation between where he was. Mm-hmm. He did seem to have production almost every place that he played, though, in every league he played, every game he played. It is interesting also to note that both these guys were in the Olympics. Yeah. They took bronze, actually, for the Slovak team. So that was super cool to see. Well, we didn't see it, but yeah. It was super cool for them.
It's a really cool stat to read.
Slafkovsky was one of the probably most influential, I would say, in that Olympic for between these two guys. But yeah, he actually had 10 points in 31 games played total with all the fluctuations. So that's important to note too. I mean, it's not a ton of production, but because of the fluctuation, of course, you're working with having to get used to different teams, different settings, different atmospheres. Yeah. So that does show. I want to say for the 21-22 season, there was like 7 different teams or 7 different national teams he had been jumped around to. Yeah, and who knows how much that affects, like, just getting used to things and just getting your feet under you. And who even knows how much that affects. So
exactly. And, well, she had noticed, and I had noticed this too after you actually pointed it out, that he skates very confidently. He has a very confident demeanor. So his overall persona, he knows he's good. He knows he can skate. He knows he can play. And that overflows into his actual play style. He's pretty aggressive on the puck, which I think is part of that in tandem with that, because if you're not confident, you're not going to attack the play in the puck. Yeah. And if there's a puck, he's going for it. And with a big body like him, he does accelerate pretty well. So he is able to get to that puck pretty quick and create a play off of it.
And a couple of the draft overview videos that I watched with his play style, like inside with where they are able to like clip his play and put it into their video. A lot of them were noticing that he actually does, and I noticed this too, that he doesn't skate like he's got too much body, if that makes sense. So usually if you got the big skaters, we mention it all the time, it's harder for acceleration, of course. I mean, you have more body, you have more length to you. It's a little harder for you to get going than it is for a smaller athlete. So he, on the other side, he doesn't actually skate like lumbering, if that makes sense. So he has good skating form to where he doesn't need to do as much to get fast just because he's got the strong legs, he's got that stride. So as long as he can keep going with that, that's going to, I think, be really good in the future. And he doesn't have to work too much on a disadvantage. Yeah. Because he's already got, good bones to work with.
And that, like Janae said, with the bigger players, and they've got the strength and the muscle. I think it's just a matter of channeling that to the acceleration, because again, up top, you're big. And she noticed too that a lot of the bigger players will kind of hunch over to kind of minimize their draft and try to make themselves smaller to get to where they need to go.
Yeah, it's almost like they try to put their head into it.
Yeah, and he looked great. I thought his skating was really good. And on top of that, being that he is bigger, he does use his body a lot. And in the European leagues, it's not as heavily physical as it is North American. So this will be something that I think will be a big selling point for him. He already possesses a pretty physical game and style, just kind of attacking the boards and the player attached to the boards. That's also something that might need a little work in controlling his body awareness. There were several hits that I noticed that were pretty reckless. So you need to understand that you are literally a foot bigger than some of these guys.
I think that does come with time too. Yeah. There's plenty of guys in the NHL who are still learning to control their body.
Yes. And some will never learn. Yeah. But he does have a good, as far as that goes, I think that play style would translate really well to the NHL.
Yeah. And I think one thing that he could improve on would be his playmaking. in Liga, it's a very finesse type of league. They're very good at playing the puck. They're very good at dangling the puck and basically like spinning around it. I mean,
that is a Finnish league. I don't know if we mentioned that.
Yeah, Liga is a Finnish league, so they're very good at all that. So it looks like when he has a little more time, sometimes he doesn't know what to do as far as the play goes. He doesn't know where to put the puck if he's not shooting it. So that would be another thing, just a little more awareness. Unlike Nemec, like we said before, he has a lot of awareness. I would say that Slafkovsky could use some more based on, knowing where his team is, knowing what play is going to work in the scenario,
kind
making
of slowing
good
his
decisions.
brain down in those moments almost.
Yeah, both these guys are going to be really good. So I'm excited to see where they do end up. Our best projection, 3 and 4, but we'll see.
I think come the draft, everyone's wrong. So everyone's draft brackets
because it also
apart.
depends on what that specific team needs and what they're looking for. But because they're top 10, I mean, anybody would be lucky to have any of these guys. Yeah. And I think a defenseman will go pretty high.
Oh, for sure.
With Nemec. So basically, that's our kind of breakdown of these two guys. So that would be Simon Nemec and then Juraj Slafkovsky.
Slafkovsky.
I kind of did. If you
slurred
a little bit.
Just say it real fast. No one can tell you missed 4 letters.
Exactly. Let us know in the comments what you think about these two guys if you've had any chance. We're going to try link the videos that we are able to see with their play style. So that's kind of where we're able. That's what we do. Before we do these videos, we look a lot of video and just try to kind of see from those small sample sizes,
kind of siphon out
what they could do and what their strengths and weaknesses are. It's amazing. You can get a lot of that from these videos. So we'll try to put those in the description box so you yourselves can see them, but you can also search them. Let us know in the comments what you think about these two, who you think will go 3rd and 4th overall, and looking forward to next week's video, who do you think will go 5th and 6th overall? We're getting closer to the Red Wings line, which would be 8th overall, so I'm thinking next week we'll probably start seeing who would probably go
realistically
8th overall.
Yeah.
So, let us know in the comments, of course. Make sure you like and subscribe and share this video. We appreciate you watching us as always, and hope you have a good day.
If you didn't like it, you have to leave.
You have to let us know. And say, I dislike this,
and don't just say it's because we're boring.
Boring.
Love it.
Anyways, we will see you guys next week. Thanks. Oh, bye. Thanks, bye. Good time.